Hello everybody and welcome back to Third Chair. Today we are debuting a new team. As you can see here, I am running a interesting team here consisting of Azumarill, Mega Manectric, Swampert, Klefki, Gengar, and Kyurem Black. And just before we start our battles, I'm just going to go into just a minute or two about why I was originally made this team. At first, I really wanted to use Mega Manectric on one of my teams. I always thought he was very powerful, and he seemed to do a pretty good job of destroying my own teams. So I kind of wanted to build around him a little bit. However, I also wanted to bring in a couple entry hazard users. So I brought in a Swampert, and I brought in a Klefki, as they kind of balance each other out. One can take on the fire types and one can take any grass attacks toward the other. And I also brought in a Belly Drum Azumarill. I don't think they have very good synergy with each other. However, it was very powerful and I wanted to give it a shot. My last two Pokemon are Gengar and Kyurem Black. One as I needed a special Pokemon, especially I wanted a ghost type to try and at least spin block or Shadow Ball, just everything to death. It's pretty nice. And then I figured my team would kind of get shut down by walls, so I brought in a Kyurem Black to be, as it's probably one of the best wall breakers, mixed wall breakers, and overused. And I kind of think a Dragon Ice type is pretty good offensively, so I wanted to give it a shot. However, our first battle today is against a name I cannot pronounce, but it's in all capital letters, so... He's bringing a Gengar and a Azumarill as well. He is also bringing a Ferrothorn, a Vaporeon, a Charizard, and a Whimsicott. So a lot of defensive Pokemon, a lot of offensive Pokemon. So it's a pretty balanced team, but a lot to be scared of, at least. The Whimsicott could do a lot of prankster stuff, and the Azumarill is always a scary threat. But we're going to start off this battle here. And he's going to send out his Ferrothorn first, and I'm going to send out my Klefki since we both want to put our statuses up. I Thunder Wave him, not because it's going to affect him too much, but if he switched out, it would hurt someone hard, and might as well try and get some Barra Hacks. However, he goes for Block, something you don't see every day. And at this point, my Klefki's stuck in the battle, and we are just going to trade entry hazards. He puts up Stealth Rocks and Spikes, and I put up all the Spikes I have. He then also has Leech Seed, so if I had Taunt, his Ferrothorn would have been shut down. My Klefki uses Magnet Rise to kind of counteract having to fight ground types, but this battle, it's really not going to help against Ferrothorn, and I'm stuck. And my Play Rough is doing 7%, and he has a Rocky Helmet too, so this is a bad fight to be in. However, I do have all my entry hazards up, and I do not believe any of his Pokemon can get rid of them. So I'm not too worried about losing my Klefki this early. It would have been nice to keep around, but it did its job, at least in the beginning. And at this point, I'm okay with sacking it to a Ferrothorn. Something, you gotta watch out for in the future. Although I've never seen a block Ferrothorn stance, so I mean, at your own call. However, I'm just waiting around until he kills my Klefki. There's nothing else we can do. He's put his rocks and spikes up. I put my spikes up. So I finally go down, and interestingly enough, I'm actually going to go into my Swampert here, so I can set up rocks, and he's going to go for a Leech Seed, which is fine. My Swampert is just kind of I'm here to set up rocks and now roar people out, so the block didn't matter too much, but I was going to try and get as much entry hazard damage, not data, as I can. But in comes his Gengar, who apparently also has Mean Look. So while trying to fish for a 2-hit KO with Scald, didn't really work, didn't get a burn either, and Leech Seed is taking way too much of my health back to him. So he hits me with a Shadow Ball, and I just roar him out of here. I'm going to sack my Swampert as well. I mean, you'll see, it seems kind of odd now, but it will help out in the future, especially right here. In this turn, he thinks it's safe to Belly Drum with his Azumarill. It is not safe. You will, yes, even use up your Citrus Berry, and I'm just going to roar you out. So his Azumarill is out, won't be able to Belly Drum again. And luckily enough, his Vaporeon comes in because he's gonna set up he seems very block oriented of a team, allowing switches, but he just goes for Aqua Ring instead of sacking, instead of just taking out my Swampert. And I get more entry hazard damage on him and all his Pokemon. So it's actually looking good for me right now. My Manectric comes in. For some reason, they say, Smokin will say the set for this is to run Overheat. I'm not a big fan. I'd rather run Flamethrower, but I did try Overheat today. Took out Ferrothorn easy. But, like, because of this, I don't get the KO on Gengar with Volt Switch or Thunderbolt. So, I mean, you know, I'd rather use Flamethrower. I recommend it more. Unless you really need the extra power. But, I have to switch out and go to my Azumarill to take whatever he was going to throw at me. I actually was just hoping that Aqua Jet would kill him. It does. And I do eat my Citrus Berry as I was a Belly Drum set, but now I'm right below 50%, so I can't Belly Drum either. But because I'm a Belly Drum set with Citrus and not Banded, I can hit him with a Play Rough, but I sadly miss. And he's going to pass the Aqua Ring to, in my opinion, the best pass would be Whimsicott, which he does do, because it can resist all of Azumarill's moves quite nicely. However, Play Rough will do a ton of damage. And because if I was Banded in, say, Aqua Jet, it would have done nothing. Like right there, I actually thought it would kill, but it did not. Now, sadly, he gets super unlucky and misses his Leech Seed twice. So all the healing is not helping out his Whimsicott, and all of a sudden, it's looking a lot more grim. As he sends in his Vaporeon, and it's down to 5%. He goes for Toxic. It's a good move. He must not run, like, Scald on this Vaporeon, because I would have gone for a Burn to try and at least, you know, stop the damage. But, I mean, with the entry hazards on his side of the field, that's way too... All his Pokemon are way too hurt. Aqua Jet will take out Azumarill at 14% left, and then in comes its Charizard before it could even Mega Evolve. If it was one, it takes 50% off the bat, and Aqua Jet will take it out. And that is the end of this battle in 25 turns, 4-0. So, you know, be very scared of Azumarill sometimes, guys. Make sure you keep your checks and counters to it ready. In our next battle, though, I go back to my old team for this one just because this team was originally, like, way different. My first team was way different. I tried running, like, a Cell Battery Azumarill. It didn't really work. So I don't have too many battles of it. However, we will show one later. These battles are actually in a different order. I want to show the third one last because it's actually 147 turns long. But don't worry, I will speed that up after the recording. So, but for now, we have our second battle. I bring in my old team, my third team, and I'm facing Shiny Hunter. So I guess this guy Shiny hunts in his free time. Although none of his Pokemon are shiny, so... a Gardevoir, it's definitely his Mega. A Garchomp, I mean, it could be his Mega, but no, no one really runs Gardevoir without having it be Mega. So, I'm seeing two powerhouses right off the bat. A Latios, which I don't have anything really to resist, so that's, except for Heatran. But I'm a little worried about that too, especially if Latios, which I don't see too often, sometimes they run Surf. I actually do on mine. On a different team. Jirachi, which is always fun to play with, and then two Pokemon that would like to pivot around and hit you hard in the back. So this is a scary team to go up against. I'm going to send in my Altaria to start the battle, because I can Mega Evolve if I need to, and he has nothing to resist Mega Altaria's return. However, I go for an Earthquake here on Gardevoir, mainly because I wasn't sure how much Return would do, but Return probably wouldn't be a better move. However, Earthquake would do a 2-hit KO. I then predict the Landorus switch in and use a Return. He goes for the Swords Dance, and we're at kind of an odd stalemate because my Lava Plume here versus the Stone Edge. However, my Lava Plume does not burn. His Stone Edge does get a crit, so my Heatran goes down way too early, and I'm in a little bit of trouble for future Latios use. But I luckily get a Scald off, and he sends his Gardevoir back in, and I expected this Scald to kill, and it does not, and he gets a Hyper Voice off. So unfortunately, I just slowed the battle down a little bit. Unfortunately, he can bring something else in to take a Scald, but he does bring in his Latios. However, I get the Burn, which really is crucial right now. My Manaphy cannot take a hit, sadly, but I can send in my Altaria and see what he's going to do. If he drops a Draco, I'll survive. However, Psyshock does way too much damage with Life Orb and all the power behind it, so I can't stay in for 2 Psyshocks, so I send in my physically defensive Rotom here. And it's still a 2-hit KO after leftovers. Absolutely crazy. Latios has some insane power if you can't, if you sack your Heatran too early like I did. So he finally drops a Draco. He didn't need to. I don't know really why he did. Maybe he was expecting me to go into like my Shaman. It would have been best to go into my Shaman, but I didn't want to use my Shaman this early. I got to save it for the Keldeo. So I go into my Mienshao and he switches out, and I go for a Fake Out. Does a crit 14%? Yeah, that doesn't matter. But Then he goes for Iron Head. Turns out this Jirachi is actually Scarfed, and my knockoff doesn't kill, but I do knock off the Scarf, which will help later. And I do make my biggest mistake in this match right here. I go for U-turn on Garchomp. I should have known he would have switched into him because Rough Skin would kill me. Losing my Mian Xiao now really hurts. I'm down 3-5, and Altaria and Manaphy are not healthy. And his Garchomp is quicker than my Altaria. Does take it out with an Earthquake. I was hoping to live at least. And now I go into my Shaman, and Fire Blast with a crit does 35%. And I put up a sub thinking he would switch out. But either way, I'm happy with that damage. My Shaman can outlast this Garchomp. Earthquake won't even take out the sub. He must not be running Dragon Claw because, or maybe he has like Stealth Rock and something else, but he's not running a Dragon move, or he doesn't want to use it for some reason. But now I just Leech Seed him. He's forced to switch out. He went to sack his Latios, but hey, I'll take some extra HP from you. And now all of a sudden, it's 2-4, and things are looking a little better. He goes into his Jirachi, which is no longer Scarf, but still faster. And U-turn breaks my sub and goes into his Gardevoir, probably looking to sack it, and I go for a substitute. So, unfortunately, Gardevoir runs Hyper Voice, and it goes through sub, so that really hurt. However, I did live thanks to my special bulk. So I am still behind a sub, and it's 2-3 now. So it's starting to look better with Garchomp unable to beat me, Jirachi at super low health. I'm starting to make my comeback here. So he U-turns and breaks my sub. I have to go for a Leech Seed. It's my only option to get myself back up to sub health at least, because I wouldn't have gotten with just leftovers. And Garchomp comes back. It misses a Fire Blast. Very crucial miss right here. I pull off a Seed Flare, and now Garchomp will be KO'd in just one more turn. So he has very dangerously low HP Pokemon. He goes for a Fire Blast here. Luckily, no burn. I put up a free sub, and now I'm looking at this battle like, all right, I've got a Manaphy that can take on Jirachi. And as long as I hit my Seed Flare, he's going to go for a U-turn here. So I'll just go for a Seed Flare and take out Keldeo. So I go for Seed Flare right here, and I miss, and it's so bad. It's like, no, because Keldeo sadly is faster than Shaman. My special bulk isn't taking a Secret Sword. It's most likely Specs. Even if it's Scarf, it didn't take, or whatever, it wouldn't have taken it. And my Manaphy won't take it either. So that's the end of this battle. Just almost made the comeback of the year, but it was a good fight. Shiny Hunter had a good team. If I had an entry hazard up, maybe things would have been different. That Jirachi would not have had so much fun. But my Heatran went down early, so make sure you keep your Steel types alive if you need to. We're going to go to our third battle today. Today, I'm featuring my new team, at least for the second time. And we are facing an interesting team here by the Black, who he seems to be bringing a pretty stall-heavy team with Hippowdon, Amoonguss, Zapdos kind of, Gardevoir, Mega, can be pretty defensive if it wants to be. But then he has two very frail fast sweepers in Fernape and Bisharp. So I don't want to have those things on the field too long, so we'll see what we can do about that. This is the 147 turn battle, by the way. So this will be very fun to watch. We'll speed up the parts that end up getting that far. But at first, I go into my Klefki and I switch out to my Azumarill, but he goes into his Hippowdon. Now, I want to take this Hippowdon on. So I go into my Gengar expecting to take an Earthquake or something, and with so far all the stuff that's happened, I've subbed, I Focus Blast, and Zapdos comes in to take the Focus Blast. And I go for Sludge Wave. It only does 45%, and it would have been a 2-hit KO if he didn't go for the Volt Switch, or I mean, he did have leftovers, so it would have done a lot of damage at least. But he goes back into his Bisharp, and I'm worried about Pursuit here, so I go for a sub. But amazingly enough, he just tries to set up, so I'm back behind a sub, and I can hit it with a Focus Blast here. It's a safe move to go for against Bisharp if you want to take him out. And his Zapdos now is at critically low HP. And I don't want to go for Sludge Wave now because he can just switch with his Bisharp. So I go for a Shadow Ball that I know would kill the Zapdos at least. And I get a crit 51%. So sadly I cannot go for it twice. So I do rely on Focus Blast to hit again for 49% damage. Does kill a Bisharp, would have killed at 100. But now he goes into his Infernape. So I'm not too worried until I realized that he's faster than me. And this is because I now understand this Infernape is Choice Scarfed due to Gengar is naturally faster. But I do lose a very important Pokemon in this battle, and I just go into my Swampert and then I Scald. Do not get the burn, unfortunately. And I have to switch out. I can't do anything to this Amoonguss. I go into my Klefki because I have to take the Spore that's coming in. The Spore, sadly, I have no grass type to take it. So usually I would carry a Ferrothorn for this reason, or a Shaman in my older teams, but I do not. So I go into my Kyurem Black immediately. I just want to hit him hard because Amoonguss is like a very tough wall if you have nothing really to take it on. And at this point, I go for Fusion Bolt into his Mega Gardevoir, hoping to take it out, but it leaves him with 11 HP, and I lose my best wall breaker, so now I'm kind of in, it's a tough position to be in. But I do have my Azumarill still. I can Belly Drum if I need to, but at this point I don't want to with that Amoonguss still on the field. Able to go for like Giga Drain or something and stop me before I can sweep. So I just go for Aqua Jet, try to take out the Mega Gardevoir, but I do not get it because he switches out. And then he comes into his Infernape here. He does a nice little double switch, expecting me to go into my Klefki. But I outpredict him here. He's going for a U-turn. If he went for an Overheat, it would have been a lot different. But helps me out because now his Hippowdon comes in, and I'm just staying in at the moment to see what he would do. He goes for a Roar. Sends in my Manectric, which I don't really want in at the moment, so I switch back out and go back into my Klefki. Amazingly enough, he goes for another Roar. I should have seen that coming. But this time my Swampert comes out, and that's the Pokemon I really wanted out right now. If I can throw up a Stealth Rock, that'll be great. His Gardevoir won't be able to come in, but then he goes for Toxic, and I lose a very important part of my walling here, is that now Swampert has limited time. So I go for Scald, and I do not get a burn, and he roars me out. But luckily, my Azumarill decides to have a little fun and come in. But because I have to use Belly Drum on this set, when I had to take out a move, I took out Waterfall. So unfortunately, all I could hit him with was an Aqua Jet. And he manages to Toxic me, and now it's not looking too good for my Azumarill, but he switches out his Hippowdon and goes into his Amoonguss. And I go for a Play Rough because I knew it would do more damage than the Aqua Jet, but 24%. Amoonguss is still living very dangerous levels of health up there. And he switches into his Zapdos. I was just going to try and start hitting him hard, hopefully, with a Play Rough. But I'll just take out the Zapdos instead, that's fine. Toxic damage brings me below 50, but my Citrus Berry brings me back up. So I'm looking okay health-wise. He just brings in his Gardevoir, which then, gets taken out by the Stealth Rocks. Moongus comes back in, and with Regenerator, it's a lot of health. So I said to my Klefki, I notice he's running Sludge Bomb. That would hurt Azumarill a lot, but it does not hurt my Klefki, so I'm okay. And then I'm still asleep. I'm trying to get the sleep off me. He's going for Spore, probably expecting me to wake up at that turn. But I wake up this turn instead, and I go for Thunder Wave, which in hindsight might not have been the best move, but I just wanted to kind of just get something hit with a Thunder Wave at this point. He goes into his Hippowdon, which is unfortunate for me, but I take my Klefki out and I go back into my Swampert, and he goes for an Earthquake because that would have taken out my Klefki most likely, or at least put a really big dent into it. And at this point, Swampert could take out Hippowdon if it wanted to, or it could do a lot of damage, very close to taking it out. So I go for the Scald, and he just goes back into his Amoonguss, which is having a grand time walling my team right now. And if I could have gotten the burn with Scald, that would have been much more helpful, but as I do not, I'm having trouble putting a status on that guy. So at this point, I'm actually just going to Roar, because I'm expecting him to switch around a lot. I'm just trying to bring in his Infernape so I can burn him or something, or if I can get his Hippowdon and just deal some more Stealth Rock damage to each of them. But he goes for U-turn. He has nothing to take my Swampert out from that range and goes back into his Amoonguss. I'm actually sacking my Swampert. Not that I don't need him, but Toxic is really hurting him. And if I can switch in on one of his Pokemon, that would be very helpful. So I roar him out, and Hippowdon comes in. So that's very helpful for me because I figured, hey, I could just bring in my Manectric and kill him with an HP Ice after a Mega. So that's what I decided to do. I bring in my Manectric, and I Mega Evolve, and I go for HP Ice. I get the Intimidate, which is nice. And it only does 38%! Amazingly, and then amazingly enough, I live the Earthquake. So two crazy things just happened there, but unfortunately, my Manectric is very, very low on health right now, and I can't switch him out due to the Stealth Rock, so I have to leave him in to die here. So sadly, I lose my Manectric, and things aren't looking too good right now. But I'm not too worried because, I mean, I do have my Azumarill still, and my Klefki is walling out this Amoonguss to the end of time. So he realizes he needs to take out this Klefki. But I managed to wake up this first turn, then I come back in, and I play rough, because I expected his Infernape to come back in. And it deals 50%, so now his Infernape's at very low health. And I send in my Azumarill to take whatever he's going to throw at me. He goes for Overheat, and it does not kill. And with the toxic damage, I will die next turn. I will die to Stealth Rocks. So I have to leave my Azumarill in. I go for Aqua Jet, just take out the Infernape if I could. But then I die to Toxic. So I have a very interesting decision here, and this matters so much in this game right now. I'm Prankster Klefki, so I go for Spikes before he could Spore me. So now his Infernape dies to the entry hazards before I can get hit by it. So it's only one Pokemon left on each side. My Klefki and his Amoonguss. So we're going to have, from turn 41 to 147, we're going to have a stall battle, amazingly enough. So we decide to play it out. And basically whoever struggles first will lose. I should naturally win the struggle war. However, he is paralyzed. And one of his moves is Spore, which will not allow me to use my moves. So we're kind of just banking on he's banking on the fact that I will lose moves before he does with paralysis. And I'm hoping that he runs out of moves and is forced to use Spore. So for now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed this battle up like 3 times. And I'll come back around like turn 142 or something. And just like we'll play it out from there. But in the meantime, I hope you guys just enjoy. I'll see you guys after the many turns of just. I'll even put it on fast and then I'll speed it up from there. But just the many turns of figuring out who's gonna win the end of this war, because it matters. The ladder climbing matters, people. All right. So until then, I will see you guys in a little bit. All right, everybody. We're finally at the end here of the eventual come down to Struggle Fest, and I did manage to outstall this Amoonguss just due to the fact that he had to use Spore on me over and over again. So with the combination of a 25% struggle and I'm able to hit the play rough every once in a while, he's going to be going down very soon. I do miss play rough there. That's pretty funny. But a very good game, Double Act. That was very good, so thank you for playing it out. And well, that's it for today. 147 turn battle, absolutely crazy. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I know there weren't too many battles today, but we did get to see a new team. So thank you guys all for watching, and I hope to see you next time on Third Chair.